Have you ever checked your patient's A1C and seen it drop or skyrocket, even if they haven't had any changes to their lifestyle or their meds, and wondered, one, is that real? And two, if it is real, then why did it change so suddenly? In just a few short minutes, you're going to learn what conditions may cause a falsely elevated or a falsely low A1C, and more importantly, why this happens. So first off, what is an A1C and why do we use it? You can think of hemoglobin A1c as the percentage of a person's hemoglobin that's glycosylated. The A1c gives us a pretty good proxy for assessing our patient's blood glucose levels over time. This is because the glycation process is directly proportional to the glucose concentration over the lifespan of our red blood cells. The longer the lifespan of a red blood cell, the longer the exposure to glucose, and the greater the percentage of glycosylated hemoglobin. The average lifespan of a red blood cell is around 120 days, give or take. So it gives us an idea of how the patient's blood glucose has been trending for about 3 months. But if we want to accurately interpret an A1C, we need to understand the two variables that go into measuring it. Hemoglobin A1c, or glycosylated hemoglobin, depends on 1. Blood glucose concentration, and 2. The average age of a person's red blood cell population. So now ask yourself, what types of processes can alter the lifespan of red blood cells and drive these falsely low or falsely high A1C readings? First off, we have processes that increase red blood cell turnover, and these result in an on average younger red blood cell population, which will lead to a falsely lower A1C. And how does this work? Red blood cells with a shorter lifespan don't have as much time to interact with glucose molecules, and they have less time to get glycosylated. So that A1C reading is going to be falsely lower. What conditions might cause higher red blood cell turnover? Think about patients who are rapidly producing red blood cells to compensate for things like hemolysis or bleeding. In addition, patients who have gotten EPO recently, or patients who have been recently treated with iron or B12 for anemia, are going to be making a lot more red blood cells, resulting in higher turnover, and that's leaving less time for glycosylation, which could lower the A1C. Or maybe the patient's had a recent red blood cell transfusion, and there has not been enough time for glycosylation with the new red blood cells from the transfusion. Now, on the other hand, processes that decrease turnover of red blood cells result in an on average older population of red blood cells, which then falsely elevates the A1C. These red blood cells have been around longer in the bloodstream and have had more time to interact with glucose molecules and become glycosylated, so their A1C reading is going to be falsely elevated. What conditions decrease red blood cell turnover? Iron deficiency anemia, as well as folate and B12 deficiency can do this. Without iron, folate, and B12, there is decreased erythropoiesis, and because the body cannot adequately produce enough new red blood cells, most of the red blood cells in circulation are going to be older, and a greater percentage will be glycosylated. Similarly, patients who can't keep up with red blood cell production, like those who are suffering from bone marrow failure, for example, patients with leukemia, MDS, myelofibrosis, or aplastic anemia, could also have falsely high A1Cs. So the next time you check an A1C, remember to consider the number and context of both the patient's glucose metabolism and the age of their red blood cell population. We can use our patient's A1C as more than just a window into their blood glucose. If we think critically about what that number means, we might just find another reason that is driving the change in their A1C. For a deeper dive on A1C, go wherever you listen to podcasts and check out our episode on hemoglobin A1c and glucose measurements, which is part of our Mind the Gap series. And be sure to check out our website for the show notes and a handy infographic that you can save for next time you have a patient with an unexpected change in their A1C.